most guys. They don't know what the West's like.
Did your, where were you born?
In the West.
In the West. Can you?
I was born in Encino, California.
Encino, California. That is technically the South, if you think about it.
Well, I mean, we definitely, when I was growing up, like my sisters rode horses to high school, so we were pretty country.
Really?
Yeah, oh yeah. Encino was like, nobody lived out in the valley when I was growing up. It was just us, and we could bring our guns out and shoot, and nobody called the cops, or if they did, they didn't live long. No.
Because obviously who your grandfather is, no one's gonna, you can't stop John Wayne's grandson from shooting guns on account of a horse.
If people knew, and that's how I got back to my mom, the whooping I would have taken. It happened. It was not good. Like, I was like, you never put dirt on the name, or you were gonna get put in the dirt.
Okay. And after you were done shooting at cops on horseback, what got you into the entertainment business? I mean, obviously you had one foot maybe in the door, but to get that second.
I did not even begin to go really towards it until I was about 27. And I'd gone to college to play basketball, and I intended to play in the NBA, and then I saw my teammates flying by me, and I went, maybe that's not gonna happen. And I wasn't a huge fan of school in general, which is a terrible thing. I promise you, do not waste time. Get your schooling done. But my mom, she said, hey, listen, you need to do something with your life, son. You need to finish school for me. And I was like, okay. And then she'd gone through, I was the last 8 kids, she'd gone through the 8 of us, and no one had gone to the business, which she didn't want us to be a part of. And I realized at the time I thought it was because she just hated business. But as a parent now, I realize it's because nobody works. Like, you never have, I mean, even her father went years without working until he became what he was.
The greatest actor in the history of motion
I mean,
pictures.
he became something. He became more than, I don't know.
Hold on, is there someone in the room that doesn't know his grandfather's John Wayne? The greatest actor that ever lived? All right, I had a feeling it would.
I love the fact of what he means to people more than anything. As an actor watching him, I see all the nuance because I knew who he was in person, which is very different than the stoic kind of guy he always played. He's pretty goofy, to be honest with you. And he was often shirtless, and we were on his boat fishing, so, you know.
Goose.
Yeah, on the wild goose. So I didn't really understand that other persona. I watched his movies, I was on sets, but I didn't put the two together till much later. But yeah, and then, so I said, Mom, I want to go get in the biz. And she's like, well, you got to go study. And I was like, no, I just want to be an actor, I don't need to study. She was like, you're so insulting. If you think you can go do any job without learning how to do it, you get another thing coming. And it was the greatest advice I ever got. I went, studied, met my wife, thank God, and then went to USC Film School and did Angel. And this is how I know I'm a pretty good actor, honestly. If you go watch my episode of Angel, I play a genius scientist, and nothing could be further from the truth, and I was really good at it. So that was when I
There you go.
confidence.
I promise we're gonna get into Star Wars: The Mandalorian, but since we were talking about John Wayne, do you have, and I'll tell you mine if you want, but do you have a favorite John Wayne film?
Film? I mean, The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance is transcendent more than I think anything you'll ever watch, because it's as important today, the message and everything in it, as it was the day it was made. And you would think it would get antithetical, but it isn't. So that's up there. The Cowboys, The Shooters has a special place in my heart because I know they almost didn't finish it because he was gonna die, and then he said, no, I gotta finish it. So that one's right up there. But there's a few. But Man Who Shot Liberty Valance is in my top 2 always. Quiet Man, and if I want to laugh in McClintock, there's nothing better.
Oh, come on, that's a great movie. The fight, and that's
the longest fight scene in the history of film for 47 years.
The hell I won't.
Hell.
But the funny thing is, The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, that's the second time this weekend that movie was brought up. I asked one of the earlier celebrities yesterday, what's their favorite movie? mentioned the man who shot Liberty Valance. It was Roger Christian, the guy who built the first lightsaber.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was sitting right there, and he said that was his
Sit
favorite.
down and talk.
And then he was talking about Jimmy Stewart was so great, and I said, Jimmy Stewart did not shoot Liberty Valance.
Nope.
John Wayne shot Liberty Valance.
But I mean, who's Liberty Valance? Like that cat was off the chart.
That was Lee Marvin, right? Yeah.
Marvin, yeah, Lee.
Great friend of John Wayne's.
You got, yeah, they were great. They were great, yeah.
I'll just say my favorite John Wayne is The Searchers. Greatest cowboy film of all time. If you have not seen it, shame on you, and go see it this week, okay? Everyone's gonna see it?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Now, let's
You know the episode, that's a good segue. In The Mandalorian,
There we go.
where Mando and Omerta meet, and there's a moment where he might stay and be with this woman. That whole thing, if you watch at the end, I'm on the hut to where I was like staying and eating, that little room she gave me. I'm in the doorway just like my grandfather was at the end of The Searchers, standing with my arm right here and not going in because I know I gotta go roam the world and be the nomad that Mando is. And it was an ode to my grandfather.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
That's a great, so here we go, we're into The Mandalorian. So how did you're an actor for a number of years, and what was the first contact with Lucasfilm to get that part?
So, I mean, I'd done parts in Sons of Anarchy, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
You did Sons of Anarchy?
Yeah.
You know, I worked on that show. I do the jewelry and stuff like that. I worked at the jewelry license company that we made the jewelry for that.
Oh, that's what I did.
So I knew most of the, I watched the show, and I'm sorry, I feel...
No, it wasn't on that long. But I wanted to be on that show more than anything. And it was the last season, and I'd gone in probably for 10 different roles and did not get them. I got in and got to get shot by a shotgun by Mark Boone Jr., who later on plays Bill Burr episode. And I worked half a day in the helmet. I generally lived it like I was Mandalorian on set, so I didn't take my helmet off. And sure enough, I pop it off and I look at him and I go, "What's up, Boone?" And he was like, "Holy, that's you, my God!" Oh my God. It was hilarious.
That's Bobby Elvis from Sons of Anarchy. You ever go out with those guys? They're great cast.
No, they're insane.
They are wild, man. They're great guys.
They're insane. So I'd done Cowboys and Aliens with John. And I just was crazy enough to do some stuff. Like, honestly, I know I was, what do you call it? They titled me as a stunt man in the first season, but I'm not stunts, and if I am, they owe me a lot of money, because they haven't paid me for one yet. But growing up John Wayne, as I call it, people just assume you kind of do your own stunts, even though his stunt man won an Academy Award. But anyway, I'm out doing Cowboys and Aliens with John, and I do I do a double backflip off a horse 70 feet in the air. And that's what John remembers. I thought my acting was a lot better, but he remembers that.
Just to refresh my memories, Jon Favreau directed?
Oh yeah, Jon Favreau
He directed
directed Cowboys and Aliens. And Daniel Craig was in it, Harrison Ford. Anyway, so I was 10 years before, almost 10 years, when we did that. I was like, I'm never gonna get a job with this guy because that movie flopped. And then I get a call from my agent's like, "Hey, can you go try out this costume?" I was like, nope, not gonna do it. And he's like, "What?" I'm like, "I gotta work tonight." He goes, "No, they'll pay you." I'm like, "Okay." He goes, "You gotta sign an NDA." I'm like, "Bro, you're killing me right now." All right, yeah, I go over. I walk in, and I'm like, "Hey, that's the Terminator." Wait, that's from Avatar. And I mean like life-size, bigger than me things. I'm like, what am I trying on? I go in, they open the door, they flip open this case, and I'm like, "Boba Fett." This is Boba Fett. They're like, "No, it's not," and they're so insulted.
I mean, even the first time I ever saw that, it looked like,
But come on! Either that or an old Pinto I had that was brown like that. But I digress. I keep saying it, they're so annoyed at me. I'm like, I signed the NDA, I'm not gonna tell anybody. Meanwhile, I'm like taking a picture every time they walk out of the room. So they put me in this thing. I'm listening to them, they're talking as if I'm not there, which is very Hollywood. Like, they don't know if you're even hired yet or for anything. So they don't give you the time of day, but people will just talk to you if you're quiet, talk in front of you. And you can learn a lot if you listen. So I hear them talking, they're like, "Well, that other guy was 6'5". this whole thing, and they're putting me in this suit that was made for a guy who was 6'5", and it fits. It's the craziest thing ever. It's a little long here, and actually pretty good on the arms. And I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. They pull out the helmet, and I'm like, well, that's a bitch. And they're like, wait, you like this? And apparently, 6 months before, they had hired a guy. It was actually the guy who stunts as Batman. Did it all for like Ben Affleck and everything. He's a 6'5" guy. He's actually worked on the show with me, and one of my great friends, Rich Citron. But he was hired. And then they realized they needed an actor inside the suit, and that's where I came in. But I didn't know any of that, so I just tried it on, and they took a bunch of pictures that looked really cool, and I had the helmet on, and they're like, how does it work? And I'm like, this is great. And they're like, wait, the helmet fits? I'm like, yeah, it's great. Luckily, Rich was really thin, and so things kind of worked in my favor. I promise you, had they had to redo the whole thing, really, I wouldn't have gotten it, because they don't like to spend money. So I was like 2.5 weeks before my daughter goes to college, my oldest daughter. And it's important that I say this because Hollywood doesn't hurry for anybody. So I don't get a call for anything, so I figured it was just a try on. I made $250, it's pretty crazy. I'm good. Bartending still, oh, there I am. Sure enough, I get a call 3 days before I'm taking off to take my kid to college. Right after, they're like, hey, next week we need you to come in and do a screen test with Favreau and Filoni. And I go, no. My agent's like, what? I'm like, I'm not doing it, bro. I gotta take my kid to college. And they're like, could you go later? And I'm like, no. Unlike marriage and everything else in this world, this is only gonna happen once. I'm taking my daughter to college, and I wanna make sure every one of those boys at school sees me. Plus it was in Boston, and I'm an LA guy.
Oh, those East Coast people, those New Englanders,
But
right?
more-
You hate New Englanders.
It's Boston, and it's that Celtic green stuff that makes me want to vomit. So I honestly, and I mean that, like I totally had this idea. Mind you, I went, and Boston was amazing. The people were amazing. My daughter had a great 4 years. I couldn't say enough good things. It hurts me to say that, but I couldn't. But so I say, no, I'm not going. And they're like, what? And so, like 6 hours later, they call back, hey, what if we fly you back early? And I go, no. I can't even afford to fly there. Like, I'm not coming back. They're like, no, we'll pay for it. I'm like, no, you don't understand. Like, I'm not doing that. I'm not shortchanging my kid. So, 24 hours later after that, I think we're on the day before I leave, or no, 2 days before I leave. He said, hey, tomorrow, can you come in for the screen test? Everybody move their schedule around, you have to do this. My agent's like, if you don't do this, I'm gonna drop you. So I was like, all right, hey, I'll be here, I'm good. So I walk in and I have the costume and they made some adjustments. And I'm a size 10. They hand me size 12, I don't know why. So I don't tell them, I don't care, I'll make it work. I walk in the costume and one of the guys who made the costumes walking with me, I'm like, you gotta drop this gun, you can't be so high. I do not have the job, mind you. I'm just walking in like I own the place. And I'm like, you gotta drop this gun, because if I go up here for my gun, everyone's gonna see my elbow move, and if he's worth his salt, he's gonna shoot me dead. Like, I'm not gonna be the gunslinger. You have to make it so that I can stand there and do that. And it's that simple. If I go, everybody knows I'm gonna shoot. Like, it's the stupidest thing ever. So they're like, we just won't shoot it. I'm like, I'd rather see long shots of Mando. And who am I? I'm talking to Jon Favreau. Like, I'm like, no, I want to see long shots of this guy. What? I don't know. So I go through this thing, and at one point he goes, you're really making a meal of your walk. And I go, well, I'm in size 12, so I'm a 10. He's like, why didn't you say anything? I said, because I don't complain, I make it work. And that was it. Like, I did the acting and everything later, and But that was it. That was what got John. Because he understood from Iron Man that it was going to take somebody who this was, the challenge was the joy of it. And it really is, man, it's been the challenge. So took my kid, I did that, took my kid to college, got a call while I was there, said, hey, you got a job, and you're gonna have to sign a contract every single day you walk through those doors in order to have that job. We weren't gonna give you any guarantees. So every day you walk in, you sign a contract. And if they don't want you, then they just won't call you back the next day. And that's how I worked for the first 2 seasons.
You have a day-long contract?
Daily contracts, and which is unheard. Like, I mean, I had 1 day off in season 1. There was only 1 day I was in that. And you can guess which day that was, I'm pretty sure. And so, to me, I mean, like, that was, I didn't mind it. Like, I was still making more money. I was bartending. I didn't trust Hollywood at all. So I never stopped bartending. So I worked 7 days a week. I worked, Friday, Saturday, Sunday nights. I get off my, we averaged 15 hours a day shooting on Mando. So I don't even know what the rest of the crew, they were there for 20 hours. I mean, we did overtime every single day. And then I'd go bartend because I had a kid in college, so somebody had to feed her. But yeah, that was it. And same thing with season 2, which I thought might have a little more job security. And then I died a couple times and made it back to set. And they were like, you still gotta sign a contract. So I did. And I played that season with a hole in my gut about that big. Just wrapped it every day. Luckily, I did not get septic again.
That's very interesting. It's very similar how Jeremy
Fell in love in the suit and the freedom of it, of having the mask. And, growing up, John Wayne, you can compare yourself. I didn't do it a lot. There was a lot of differences because he's 6'5", 260, so I could immediately kind of disassociate. But there are some things that you want to be able to carry, but you don't want to look like you're trying too hard. And part of that is the presence and being in a room and just people feeling it. And that's what Mando gave me. Whether it was how they used the camera or the setting they put me in, it didn't matter. Like, it was a very cool relationship with my grandfather when I was within that suit. And his economy of movement was what fed me. And so I studied what he studied, which was kabuki, which is a Japanese art with the mask on, so you can't do all this stuff that I do normally. And then you had to figure out how to make, it work. And then you go, oh wait, wearing a helmet's no different than wearing a cowboy hat. And I pretty much wore a cowboy hat 20 hours of every day. So all of a sudden you realize, oh, you gotta turn your head a little, and you learn these little things that when you're on a horse, you don't make big movements, because you want your horse to spook or anything. So those kind of things translated really well to Mando.
Is it hard to see out of that thing?
Yeah. I mean, they all say it's like this, but that was the fun challenge for me. I didn't go down. I might have gone down during the movie once, just recently, but I didn't go down. Lateef, now he has a harder job in a lot of ways. Part of it being the fact that he has dreads, and Lateef Crowder is my.
How does he fit that in there?
Dude, they used to screw his hair like this, and then wrap it with something, and then I mean, like literally, like people putting their forearms on it, pushing it down, and then the chin strapped him, and his face is like this, and the guy can't see because everything he does requires him to be punching or some capoeira move, and he couldn't see anything. He ran into walls. Like he lost the baby once and was like, mother, in the scene you could I wish they would, it wasn't so Disney because it is so funny. He's trying to jump in that buckboard when Carl corners us and we start that big street fight in season 1. And he's trying to jump. First of all, he didn't try, he could. From a standstill, his thing was here and he had to hold the baby. They asked me, hey, can you jump in there? I'm like, yeah. They're like, no. You can't run up. You got to jump from here. with your rifle and the baby. So I was like, Latif. And sure enough, man, he goes, and you just see the kid going there. It's like, that was the cheaper one, so it was only about 10 grand. And you just saw it going, and he's MF. I lost the kid. And the legacy guys who built it, who built our costume, are literally all like this. I mean, that's when slow motion really did happen in real life. It was so funny. When he's blowing up buildings in Sorgon, he tells Gina, a character, and he's like, go, go, go. And she goes because he blew up the hole. And he was memorizing where everything was because he couldn't see, it was so hot. And he turns and runs, and he is at full speed. And he missed the door and hit that wall. Oh my God, I was so happy it wasn't me.
He's great. We were in Dallas last summer. I think at the Ropes Go. He did this jump and kick thing in front of my boots just happened to be there. He was showing somebody something.
Oh.
He did it right in front of him. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, and he's not, it's not like he's 20. This dude is a master capoeira, and he does this stuff. It's unreal. Like, it's still to this day.
Do you have a favorite Mandalorian scene, a scene of your character from the series?
I mean,
or if you want, you can talk about the movie, but we'll go back to that in a couple of minutes.
We can talk about the movie.
No, we'll go to the
What are they gonna do? Fire me?
Yeah, it's not like you're signing a contract.
Yeah. Oh, mother.
You have favorite
I
scene?
have favorite scenes or like episodes too, because of moments. Anything with Carl now means everything because he was my mentor on that show. It was the first time I'd been a lead of a show, and you hear the rules of what you should do, but like really, they have this thing called a call sheet. It's everybody who's in the on the acting side, like in the show, and it numbers it. And if you're number one, it's a big deal. Well, I knew it wasn't a big deal. I was number one, and it didn't matter because I knew nothing I did individually was ever going to matter. That we had to do something as a group. And I knew that just from life, like there's nothing you ever done alone. I don't care if you were alone, there was somebody there with you. And so Carl gave me some ground rules. And it's like, don't let them run you over. This crew is gonna be with you every day, so you treat them like family. I don't care if you're having the worst day of your life, you smile at them, you shake their hand because you have no idea. All I would have to do is ask for someone to go do something for me, which I'm not akin to, but I could, and they would. Whereas these guys had to be there. If their kid had pneumonia, they had to come to work, because how are you gonna pay for it? So I learned from Carl some of the greatest lessons. So anything you see with Carl, one of the things that I do love, and it sounds terrible, God rest in peace, is I love the fact that I shot to kill Grief Karga. Mando, everyone seems to come back to life. But it was never intended that way. And so when Mando shoots Grief, when he gets ambushed in the Razor Crest, the only reason it doesn't go through his heart is because the Beskar caught him. And that's it. But for me, that was a good turning point for Mando, because he was supposed to be robotic and less soulful in the beginning, and the kid kind of teaches him to find these moments. And that was a great example of who Mando was for me on set and anything. That's a great one for me. Another one that still gives me goosebumps is when Katie and I are in season 3, and we're at the end of the ship, and she's questioning whether she could lead, or Bo-Katan, whether she could lead Mandalore, if she's fit for it. And I tell her, I will follow you till your song is sung. And I didn't want to leave her hanging on the end of the boat, It was a big moment for her character. And the connection that we had in that moment was akin to a lot of things, overcoming things with family and friends in real life, and it was really nice. And it just felt great. So yeah, those are two that I deal with.
Now, are you saying, what did you know on the day? What were your
No, and
reactions?
the funny thing was they really were so cheeky about it, and like, I'm the only only guy who doesn't tell the truth. Like I never burn you guys. Why would you tell me this? And they were trying to keep it from all of us. And I just saw him and was like, hey, how are you, man? You good? Like everybody else saw him when he walked in, and it literally was like one of those things where you were like, we're gonna have to do this take again because, you know, everyone went on set, and I was like, dude, you guys can't do that. It's like, that was a great moment. But yeah, I mean, come on. For me, I love him as Luke, and there's no doubt. But Annie Potts and him in Corvette Summer, I'm sorry.
Annie Potts in Corvette.
Come on, like, for me, that was more important at the time. And I told him, he was like, wow, we didn't do any sequels on that one. I was like, I loved you when you were inside the Tauntaun. It was great, it's fine.
That was such a great, I love that scene where I'm just like.
It's nice, it's the best. Yeah.
So, it's just great talking to you, but I gotta let them ask some questions.
Yeah, let's go.
I consider to talk to you for the rest of the
Let's
night.
go.
But, Longwater, you out there?
Without saying it, and then let alone for, you know, like Ming-Na or Carl or Tim or anybody who you're, you know, acting with, if you just sit there going, and they're saying their lines, it's weird. They've tried to like use his voice while I was in the suit for the scene, and it's less than effective. It's a little tough.
David Prowse is the same way. You can see old footage of him doing Darth Vader.
Yeah.
He's saying every single line that will eventually become James Earl Jones. And James Earl Jones probably used his tempo and the speed he was doing.
Yeah, have you ever heard David Prowse's voice?
Oh yeah, I mean.
Yeah, I'm gonna say no. I think James Earl Jones' voice was the right one. That's not to say that, you know, I should be the voice, but I will say simply that we have a similar cadence. He's incredibly talented and finds the right cadence to fill those moments. You know, I watch with the volume down, but I have heard it. So, yeah.
All right, Longwater, where you at?
All right, go. Defender Detachment, we would like to induct you as an honorary member for all of the work you do in the Star Wars community.
That's awesome. This means a lot to me, but I'm gonna just push this away. This is great, and I get paid for what I do, and I love what I do, and I'm very lucky to be the guy in the suit, and I earn it every time I'm in it, so I don't, you know, I'm not poo-pooing it, but what you all do is well beyond the pale of what I do, and way more important, and I want you to have the respite, watch that show for an hour, 45 minutes, or sometimes they were like 28 minutes. And I get it, it's a good place, you can go have some fun, and I love that it attaches, it connects generations from grandparents to kids now again. I hear it a lot, it means a lot to me, but I'm gonna tell you right now, as a father, as somebody whose father served, as somebody who loves his community and tries to give back wherever he can in his local community especially, you all mean more to me every day. I don't care if you're here or in LA, please come to LA. You guys do more to make this place livable, lovable, and worthy of fighting for. So I thank you for